Alright, we are now live.
Cool.
Okay. So, welcome all to the 30th live multiplayer test. Um, we actually have an interesting treat, which has been kind of creeping around in the background. Let's see if anybody notices. Plus, we never actually got to change up the test the buildings last time. So we're going to hopefully fix all that. So, without further ado, I will start the game up. And hopefully I can get OBS to behave. Come on, OBS, behave. There we go. There we go. Maybe. And OBS is not behaving. Oh, now it wants to do it, of course. Okay. Alright, server's up. I'm not sure if it's being twitchy, though.
Launching.
Oh, sixth scenario. Go figure. And we have spam. Spams during live stream is always welcome. I should actually grab a ship, go figure.
Okay, game audio good, your audio good, and our audio is pretty good.
I think the music's probably pretty loud. I'll change it once we get into the game.
It's not bad. But, well, I mean, you'll judge, but...
Yeah. Alright,
Okay.
we doing two teams first? Or are we doing the same team initially? Or are we doing?
I don't think it necessarily matters what we're testing today.
Well, we're doing upgrading buildings and stuff like that. So let's all do an alpha, then we'll figure out what we want to do with ourselves. How's that?
Okay.
Alright. So, are you on the...
Good for me.
There you go.
I'm noticing old beam ship is one of the selections. Is the current?
That's been there.
That's been there forever. Technically, that all should go away in favor of Adam's new updates, but that hasn't been put in yet.
Just wondering if the normal beam ship is the overpowered one that I should not.
They're all overpowered.
Okay.
That's the problem. Alright, so let's turn down the audio so I'm not... That's probably pretty good. Okay. So, the first things first, you might have known the screen looks different. Scary that. Oh my gosh.
Dramatic sound effect.
Yes. There you go. So, basically, one of the complaints that I did get as far as feedback goes was that the HUD was very antiquated. Or at the very least, was programmer art. With I being a programmer, we have no concept of what art is. We go, yep, that's good enough, and then we move forward. But, as you can see, some of the reactions I got definitely spurred us to change a lot of the flying interface, if you will. So, now all the old stuff is still here, it's just presented differently. So instead of having the hexagon for your target, and then having like the internal structure and things of that nature, we now have these bars. IS means internal structure, like your components. The little shield there represents your armor. And I guess you're building stuff already?
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. And so basically what ends up happening is if you have shields, there'll be a third tier of bars there that will show your shielding. Now we still have all the old favorites, who's the owners, the distance, things of that nature, but you can see things are spread out differently. So no longer are we having the spinning version of your self-damage in the upper right, now we have the static view on this lower left. Everything is kind of a derivative of this hologram blue, for lack of a better term. Certain things have been moved. So, as you can see, I'm changing my acceleration. That's that dotted bar. And you can see how things are accelerating and decelerating based on that. The other thing on the left is the overshoot. So I'm flying towards Ogre right now, and I'm overdoing it. And so if I don't want to overshoot him, then I make sure I'm not afterburnering, and then I'll settle kind of right next to him, if you will, which is good. This also in the upper right says the weapons range. So as soon as that little lever here goes down, that means he's within my range of my weapons. The radar is no longer linear. So what does that mean? It means that it kind of goes in bands, for lack of a better term. So the first inner circle here is actually very linear, but as it gets further away, the symbols and everything else get smaller and smaller, so that even though... So Ogre, if you would, either stay still or go away from me, one or the other. Have you targeted. Let's see if I can see which one that one is. There you are. So it means that in dogfighting range, you can really see what's going on. So right now, he's like 16,000 away. If I get far enough away from him, he's going to be just on the edge of the circle. So what would normally happen is if someone was like 5 or 10,000, they'd already be off the radar by now. But now everything's still on the radar despite him being like 60,000 away, which is kind of cool. So you can sort of see him. He's a little, blip up there. But I mean, at this point, honestly, my normal sensor range wouldn't be able to see him anymore anyway. Now, the other interesting thing is, so now here's everybody's hanging out by the city, and Jordan's still building that city over there. So if I go back over towards the city, what we'll end up seeing is different icons for different things. That's actually kind of a coming thing, that we're going to go away from simply hexagons for everything. Things will mean different things. So when you get close to a city, triangles represent buildings, squares represent ships. Missiles are going to be diamonds, I believe is what we decided on. Disabled ships, I think, are going to end up being circles, and they're going to have the ability to filter them out from your radar. So we have all these different new features that are here. It looks like I have a couple bugs in my HUD. That's lovely.
User disconnected from your channel.
I don't know who disconnected, but there you go.
Looks like Paul.
Fair enough. So, it's definitely a kind of brand new way of doing things. As you can see, the capacitors are still here. Everything else is still here. Things are a lot more labeled. Yeah. So that's pretty much the new update in a nutshell, as far as the HUD goes. So what does everybody think of the new look?
Definitely more stylish.
Screen's not as busy.
Well, that's good. Now, I know I run this in 4K. I'm kind of curious what this looks like in 1080p, whether or not the new radar is usable, that kind of thing. For me in 4K, it looks great, but I mean, I have no idea what it ends up looking like in 1080p, so I'm curious how usable it is. Is anybody not running 4K?
I'm not running 4K.
How does the radar look?
Okay, let's take a look. Oh, it looks fine. I can see like all the icons pretty clearly, distinctly.
Okay, that's good.
I can see that somebody's moving around. It's not a big deal. Like what's up? That just
Lets
I
me running
don't
around.
know that I necessarily like the slant of the radar. Um, it feels a little tilted off to me.
It was worse, but yeah, no, I talked to the HUD guy, and he's not happy with the slant either. We'll
User entered
probably
your channel.
end up doing something with that, but for right now, it is what it is. He wants to basically do fine, detailed changes to the slanting, because the idea is supposed to be, it's supposed to be kind of looking like it's projected on the windscreen kind of thing. So it's supposed to be a little tilted. It's not meant to be blocked off. It's supposed to have a little bit of stylishness. That's why in the upper right and the lower left and all the rest of that stuff looks the way it looks, because it's supposed to look like everything's kind of on a you know a convex windscreen kind of thing going on.
I don't think the idea of the slant is bad. I just think this particular angle of slant is not great
Yeah, fair
because
enough.
like so like that just needs a little bit of adjustment. But like the idea of the slant itself is not the problem.
All right, we'll just have to fiddle with that, and that's fiddleable. It's not like these things are in stone. The biggest thing that's really a problem is the stuff in the lower left. I can't adjust that really. Everything else is adjustable. And what I did was the kind of fake adjustments. If you notice, the left representation of yourself is slightly bigger than the right, trying to indicate a slant, but it's not really a slant, if you know what I mean. Um, Everything else I can adjust, but if I rotate those things, then you're getting opposite angles. It's not really adjusting it. That's the problem.
Right.
So then you're kind of defeating the purpose. It's like, so it is what it is. I mean, it's not a projection, so that's kind of where that one's going.
I will say that the slant on the radar on a curved monitor when you're off to the side is really kind of weird, but that's because of the slant in the monitor.
Fair
But
enough.
the
Fair
curved
enough.
monitor, it's like curve, so it's very extreme when you look at it from an off angle. But from the center, it mostly looks okay. The slant's maybe a little weird, but
Yeah, I kept playing with the slant, and this was the one that I disliked the least. Because all the other slants really made it look horrible. So, I mean, I agree that the slant right now isn't great, but yeah, there's just no good answer, it seems. I mean, I could get away with it and maybe make it like isometric or something else like that. Meaning, orthogonal, I think is what it's called. Basically, where there is no slanting at all, but then everything doesn't like look right anyway. It's like, So I'm not sure what can really be done about that. Worst comes to worst, I'll do exactly that, and that way everything will be exacting, and then it's not going to look right anyway. But we'll see. I'm curious what will end up looking like on the Twitch stream. So, other than that, it's pretty straightforward as far as these things go. Meaning, you've already all know about all the functions within the HUD, etc. It's just different. Also, and let's face it, it's cleaned up. There aren't text over things. The HUD arcs aren't slamming into the side monitors. There's not, so it's nice and clean for once. If you know what I mean. It's not, sloppy crayon homework, if you will. So with all that being said,
Task complete.
So what's up with the base build, Jordan?
I'm out of money,
Who's the War Master?
Matt.
Sorry about that.
I just didn't want to interrupt what Arthur was talking about.
Yeah. So, so what do we want to do next? Do we want to do two teams? Do you want to try the upgrade of the buildings first, or what do we want to do as the next example of things?
Well, let's get to the building upgrade. How close are we to that, Matt?
I'm
that's working on
currently
Research Labs
researching
2.
Research Labs 2.
Yeah, like, was it
So
2.5,
a minute,
2-ish?
one little over a minute and a half, plus
Okay.
the actual text.
Right.
Fair enough. So, any commentary on the HUD? Improvements, things we're missing, things we shouldn't have, that kind of thing.
I'm not on the weapon range. The lighter bar goes down, but at least from what I'm seeing, the line at the top of the weapon bar doesn't seem to follow it to indicate that I'm getting closer. So it's hard to actually see something's in range.
Well, that's the whole thing. It's not supposed to. The line, there's two lines there. So if you notice, there's a brighter section and a darker section.
Right.
So the brighter section here is on my section right here. I'm going right towards this reactor, for example. So as I get closer, this brighter section gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And when I'm finally within range, the top bar will start coming down. And so that's the difference between the original one and this one. So obviously now I'm within weapon range.
Oh, okay. So the top bar hasn't moved. I'm not in range at all.
That's correct.
Okay, then I guess I was expecting the laser range to be a little further, but maybe I lost track of where I was.
No, laser range, especially tier 0 stuff, is really, really, really short. It's meant to be really short.
Oh.
Pulses are twice, and missiles are twice that. So yeah.
I'm gonna make a couple extra research labs that more than I normally do, so we can test both the upgrading and the sideways upgrade.
Okay.
Meaning turning 2 of them into research lab 2s and 2 of them into analytics labs.
Fair enough. Now, alright. Right now, whatever target you have selected does typical glow to white and then back to the normal color. That's true on the radar. The question I really have, though, is other than have it glow white, which is a slow pulse, I mean, I can point it out up here, I don't notice it that much.
Me neither.
Should we have the icon spin?
Maybe we could
Or something?
try like a couple of, carrots. Not carrots. I don't know. Remember the term right now. The less than, greater than, like on the sides of the icon, so that like it's
Okay.
like this is selected.
Alright, so don't try to spin it. You want additional
Yeah.
accoutrement there.
I guess yeah.
Alright, what's everybody else's suggestion? They like that idea? They want to try something different? What do they want?
For the Omniball, I'm sorry.
On the radar, Paul,
Radar, I'm sorry.
we have different icons up there that represent the buildings and the ships. I have a reactor currently selected as my target, is slowly going between blue and white. The problem is that on the radar, I have to really be looking for it. And that's not helpful. So what I want to do is I want to say, okay, what would make it more obvious? Obviously, these are color-coded, so if you're an enemy, you'd be in red, or if it's neutral, it's yellow, all those kind of things in between. That's still there. The problem is, how do we make it more obvious that this particular BIP on the radar is what we're looking for? Yeah, I'm going to turn down that voiceover because it's just... I'm talking over it, and it's just like...
What if it was highlighted a different color on the radar? Like make the one object you have selected green rather than dark blue.
Would green be useful enough?
Or just some other contrasting thing.
Well, the problem is that we use everything from red all the way through to yellow through to blue. And so while green is never used, I'm not 100% sure that that's the best answer either. But I mean, I guess that's a different answer.
But the idea of a color change is what I'm talking about. Because if I see a bunch of buildings, but one of them is a different color than the others, it's like, oh, okay, cool. Maybe that one's, there's the one I have selected.
It could be. I might personally want to reserve the idea of a color change for, like, for when we have a working friend foe.
Well, I mean, it's working, but it's twitchy. You know. Like I said, for me, I'd either do spinning because nothing out there is spinning, because everything up there is very static. Putting something around it, like a circle around it or something else like that, that might flash or whatever, might make it highlight more, perhaps. Maybe we make the icon artificially bigger than it's supposed to be, or a combination thereof.
If you actually color the stalk, that might do it too. Since all the other stalks are white, it would definitely stand out.
Well,
Yeah.
that's a possibility.
I've got the builder bot targeted right now, and like it's very close. It's very close to my plane. It doesn't really have a stalk.
Right.
True, but if it's close to your plane, that should mean it's easier to spot. Like the whole point of this is that it's hard to spot when it's out in the middle of nowhere, than it's out of your immediate view.
Well,
right?
meaning like my elevation plane.
Yeah.
So meaning that like it could be on the same elevation as me and far and on the edge of the radar, it still wouldn't really have a stalk.
Right.
Maybe just make a circle appear around the icon at the top of the stalk.
Well, that's what I was saying. As one of the possibilities.
Also, so I think I've just spent money. Okay, so let's test upgrade the map.
All right.
Yeah.
I don't see an upgrade building button on the research center.
Those buttons are scrollable. You might have accidentally scrolled it down a little bit.
Purge, auto destruct, upgrade capacitor, armor, interdictor, weapon, and blow computer. And I don't see it.
Okay. Hold on. Let me check this because it's kind of weird. So which one are we looking at? Which?
So research lab Mark 1 marked. I guess among the building numbers is 2.
All right. I see upgrade building. There's blow computer. Do you see anything below that?
I do not.
Scroll that whole thing's a scrollable grid.
I did. I've scrolled it up.
Wow.
I've now scrolled so far up that only blow computer is visible.
Really?
Really?
That's odd. I see upgrade building.
I'm running a different release than you and Arthur. Ogre.
Shouldn't be.
It should be.
I mean, should be all the same.
Oh yeah, but should be. Hey Ogre, can you do something for us?
Sure.
Go to the asset screen. And then you go down to installation 1, the big green one, right?
1 second.
For those playing at home, this is what Ogre's looking for. He's looking for Jordan's layout, and then he sees the installation. Then we're going to the research lab at address 2, and then we click over here for the building type to change this out.
All right, that's the screen.
Okay. So you
I
scroll
will say I'm very happy that I can now get back into the game much more easily if I go back to the main menu.
Ah.
That was a nice improvement.
Oh joy, we got a spammer in the chat. That's what we need.
Oh, while you deal with that. Okay, so Ogre, asset screen, the big green one, installation. Installation 1, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay.
If there's a plus, and click that plus to expand it.
All right.
And then you see the first research lab Mark 1 it says. It'll say across research lab Mark 1, then a 2 to the right of that, then OK.
Yep.
Okay, so click on the icon all the way to the left of that bar. If you hover over it, it says building type.
Yep.
Okay.
What are the buttons that you see now, like in front of you?
In the lower left.
Purge capacitor, auto destruct, upgrade capacitor, upgrade armor, interdictor toggle, weapon select is grayed out, blow computer.
And if you click and drag the whole thing and scroll up a bit, is anything else up here?
No.
Okay, so Ogre also can't see it.
Wow, that is a weird one.
Did you upgrade? Did you update the outer section? You had to.
I haven't. I mean, the last time I upgraded the building screen was to add that button.
Yeah, no, you're right. I mean, it's been there forever.
We can work that out in a bit.
They told me they fixed it.
For now, I guess Matt and Art can queue things up to upgrade.
We can. Well, you both are on the outside section. So, Adam, what happens when you see it?
One second.
Because that's damn peculiar. You know?
Yeah, I'm seeing it normally. I don't know.
You see upgrade building?
Hmm?
Okay, let's take a step back then. Are you guys seeing the brand new HUD?
Yes.
Yeah, definitely.
Remember, I was talking about it.
Okay, that's what I'm trying to understand. It's like, alright, this makes zero sense.
And I didn't, like, the building screen was not one of the updated files today.
I mean, to be fair, I didn't look at it last week because we, got swamped and everything. I didn't try to upgrade anything.
Maybe the text file didn't go out to them in the outside set.
Maybe. That would be a weird thing.
That would be the only thing for it not. The only way that would happen is the screen text file probably isn't updated.
Wow. Okay, well, I'll make a note of that.
Fair enough, fair enough.
Thank you.
Well, there's always got to be something interesting. Okay, so the test I really want to do, since we're here, is I'll go into the research screen. We got a bunch of research labs. So some of these things are going to be really expensive to do. But let's do something that's not going to take forever, like Power 2. Alright? That should take something obnoxiously like 5 minutes to do.
Yes.
Alright? So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to... Whoever has the upgrade button, be there to ready to upgrade it to something else. Actually, I should probably do this.
That's true.
Because we're trying to show people this.
Move Power 2 over when you tell me to.
Okay. What I'm going to do is I'll move power over right now, and then I'll stop it. So I'm going to move power over, and we'll show that, look, it's going to take 5 minutes. Now I'm going to tell it to stop. And stop. There we go. Okay, so it's got 491 left. Meaning minutes-wise. I think we should probably update the listing. It actually shows how many research points were actually researched on it. But
It's a good idea.
Possibly, yeah.
yeah, I think it's probably good. So, alright, so we saw it was 5 minutes. Fine. That's what Mark 1 will do for us. So if I go to the asset screen, and I go to the first guy, and I will click the upgrade building button. Now what this lets us do is with upgrade in place. So I click on upgrade building, and there are two types of buildings I can get to. One is the Research Mark 2, and one is the Analytics Lab. I'll do Research Mark 2, because why not? Now, as soon as I did this, it changed the name to Research Lab Mark 2, and changed, hopefully, all the internal components. Now it goes to the status of being built. And when I go back out to the asset screen, it should also say it's being built, which it is. And it still doesn't update the thing yet, but we'll see. But it's also not done yet either. So now that we're on the outside, we can actually see it over there in the corner where it looks like it's half built. So Jordan, if you would be so kind and send one of your builder bots to go over there and say hi to it.
I just have to have the builder bot and right-click on the building.
And right-click on the building, and he should go grab resources sufficient to.
Orders, repair building.
That's right. So actually, I should be able to go into here, and I'm going to see what this actually ends up looking like. See, and this is what it says: repair building. So what Jordan did on his screen, unbeknownst to us, is he actually selected the builder bot, right-clicked, and went, "Oh, my order's now a repair building," because it sees the building's unfinished. It's gathering enough resources to finish off the building because it didn't have enough on itself to do so. And since we're upgrading pretty significantly, it's going to grab a good chunk of money here.
Those resources will be, or should be, the difference between a Mark 1 and a Mark 2 plus a fee.
Yes. Should be about like 50 RMs. Well, we haven't decided that's going to be the final version, but we'll see. And now...
They grab 2,300
yep.
for reference.
And now it's spending it, and it's building it like it would build any other building.
But those who have followed, like in the past, what I would do is I would still have the two Research Mark 1s, and I just build two Mark 2s and ignore the Mark 1s, and we get super crowded on my research screen.
Yeah. So now, it already noticed, when I put this thing in here, it says 2.45. And now that it's done, it's starting to count down. That used to be 5 minutes. So, what I'm going to do is on the next research lab, I'm going to turn it into an analytics lab, and we're going to make that thing speed up even further. So if I go back in here, find my next Mr. Happy, which will be address 7 evidently, and I'm going to upgrade that building to an analytics lab. It didn't take much to do it. And then I go back out, and that got updated as far as the name goes. So it says analytics lab.
Why don't you tell the builder all the time so that the viewer can see you do it?
Fair enough, sir. All right, I'll tell the builder bot, and I just grabbed it, and I'm going to right click. And it got the repair building order. And so now it's going to grab what it needs to finish off updating that building.
Yeah, question. What's up? Now that it thinks it's an analytics lab, can I put power 2 on the analytics lab now?
Yes.
I will do that then.
I will watch you do it.
Okay. Give me supplemental analysis lab added.
Even though it's not finished yet, it let you do it. There's a little backdoor there.
Did it drop the time?
Yeah.
I think it did a little.
Yeah, no, it definitely dropped the time.
Fun.
There's a little backdoor for you.
Better we find the exploits now.
Yeah, no, that's why we do the testing.
That was exactly why I asked the question. I'm like, you know what? If something's going to be weird, it's going to be weird right here.
Yeah, no, you're not wrong. But here's the beauty of it. Now you can actually start diversifying your research labs. You can do the same thing with your factories and your reactors and things of that nature. So before, you'd really have to destroy the old building and then put the new one down, which was always a pain in the butt. Now you can upgrade in place. Now you can keep the general... That means you can do this with turrets, you can do this with the other buildings, and that really takes the game to that much more usable level where it's sort of like, well, I've already done the thing, I gotta start all over again, blah, blah, blah. No. All you gotta do is keep researching, you can upgrade your stuff in place. And I think that's very, very handy.
Here's another quick test we can do. I'm going to throw materials 2 on the research lab, the Mark 1 that we still have, number 3.
Uh-huh.
Or I don't know what its actual address is. And then Arthur, tell it to upgrade and let's see what it does.
Alright.
This should be the third one down the list.
Yep.
Number 9, I guess, is the address.
Yes, it is. And I will do an upgrade.
The Mark 2.
Oops. Research Lab Mark 2 is done.
Okay, the time reduced, but it is not still going.
Right.
Which is correct.
That much what has been tested.
We may want little icons a little icon that like pops up on the research screen over the lab. Just some maybe like a little wrench or something that just says like this needs to be like dealt with.
Yeah, no, I'd mentioned that to Matt, saying we should probably change the color of it or something like that. But having an outright wrench over it, I think is probably a much, much better idea, because the color to change is like, okay, what does that mean? Have a wrench, people go, oh,
Yeah.
it's broken, fix. All right,
Yeah,
they get that.
We can reuse that for like it's disabled.
So, Paul, can you get us a little wrench icon we can throw on top of this?
I swear I made one in the past. Let me go through my library of graphic art assets, and I'll take a look. I know I made a futuristic looking wrench in the past.
Okay, that's fine. I mean, it doesn't have to be right this second, obviously. Can't be right this second, but I mean, I think that as an upgrade, that's probably very, very usable. So thank you very much, Jordan, for the suggestion.
We'll take a look at that and running it down.
One last funny little upgrade idea once it finishes the Mark II.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll have materials. I'll put materials 2 on our last unupgraded lab before you tell it to be an analytics lab, and then we'll see what it does.
Okay. For what I understand about how the tech web works, what will happen is it will get worse, and that's on purpose. And if Adam wants to explain it, he can explain it. If I want to explain it, or if he wants me to explain it, I'll explain it.
Oh, I see. All right. Well, let's make sure that happens. Put materials 2 on the last lab.
All right. So that says 5 minutes. Is that normal for that?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And that's 300. Oh yes, because okay, yeah. All right, it's still Mark 1. Derpy. So now I'm coming here, upgrade the building, and I'm gonna make it into an.
I didn't see. I actually. All right. Then, sorry, I got a little confused. Don't worry about it, just.
All right. So now I made it to an analytics lab. It should be significantly worse than that 5 minutes now.
No, it dropped the time.
It's still in the Research Lab Mark II as well.
Right.
It put it together. So
if you've got a primary lab and you add an analytics lab,
Oh,
So
yes.
just adding it.
Yeah, you're actually, by putting these two together, see how it says 90 seconds? If I put in the second one, it drops to 71
That
because
was
it's
what I wanted to
helping.
see. Like, would it recognize, like, because of course, like, would it recognize that that it was on 2 labs initially, and then the second lab became analytics?
Yeah. Well, you see how this thing was almost done. Now it's 5 minutes.
Right.
Here, let me put in something that's newish. Lasers 2 is how much? 150. I want something that's 300. Alright, so fabrication 2. Alright, so fabrication 2, if you see it, is now 10 minutes.
Right.
Because an analytics lab is slower than a normal lab, but it has the ability to help other
Okay. But this
other
was what
people.
I was sitting there wondering, like, okay, if we put, the materials 2 example on the research lab 2 and the research lab 1, it shouldn't affect it at all. I wanted to see, like, if it then changed to an analytics lab, would it recognize that, this, second lab that was added has become an analytics lab, and therefore will be helping? And the answer is yes, which I think it should.
Right.
In a sense. We still have to fix the fact that it starts giving the benefit before the analytics lab is built, but
Yeah.
but everything else is, like, running, so that's cool.
Yeah, that issue isn't so much an issue on what Matt did. It's completely an issue on my own did, because I have a production calculation, and while I do check to see what the production values are, I don't check to see whether it's disabled. I only check to see if the primary is disabled. So that's something I need to add to my checks to say, oh, if these helpers are also disabled, don't add in the help, if you know what I mean. Which makes sense. Now, Rich was kind enough to say that the audio was cutting in and out on the stream, evidently. So I don't know what to really do about it, but
stream reset and then do a team fight test, or do we? I think it's supposed to, like, do we want to do a game today, or, like, have we showcased what we want to showcase?
well, we showcase what we want to showcase. We can do. I did not do anything with the stealth stuff, although Adam did update um, the different cockpits for different ranges, and we tested that the other day. But the bugs that were there from last time are still there this time because I spent all my effort into redoing the HUD. So
this would just be testing for random bugs that come up.
okay.
Oh, you know what? There's something we should test real fast.
Sure.
You said you fixed, building ships and it going negative. Let's just double check.
That's also true. Also, you should be able to change the name of your ship in the Quick Designer now.
Excellent.
Meaning manually type it in, kind of thing.
Did write that into the tutorial.
Yes. So if you want to talk about, if I go into the factory screen, for example, I click on this, they bring up the Quick Designer. Oh, the other thing is, if we have shields, it will default putting shields in automatically. So there it is.
Fantastic.
So if it knows you have them, it will automatically put it into your mesh, into your mix here. So right now, this is named Mother Teresa. Oh, by the way, I added in 4 new ships.
Oh?
So, meaning hull designs. So now, if you look, we have this giant tanker, and we have another quasi-tanker cap ship, and then we have an outright cap ship. I have not flown them, but they do actually have shielding set right. And also, if you notice how janky the shielding was on the big blue ship, that's been fixed. So I'm kind of curious. I haven't seen these things in action before. So we'll, once we do.
So I'm making a couple factories then, and we'll pop out some ships and make sure they're functioning.
Fair enough. So I'll call this. Really, click this. Or not. See, I actually can delete it. Screw that. What's it? Cap ship test, right? Very original name. Save. And there it is. Yay, it has my lame name because I have 1 gun each. It's kind of lame, actually. But it's a test. Firepower 12. It's like 1 gun each.
And just to make sure, yes, I can in fact see your new name.
Yep. Hey, that's a good thing, actually. So I'm going to build it. It'll be out in 45 seconds. This is going to be a pea shooter of a ship.
Fair enough.
but it's a test. I'm just testing the hull because I haven't flown this guy before. So you're cranking out another builder bot there.
Yeah, I'm gonna make another couple factories. Because you said you had 4 new ships, I think you said.
Yeah.
So get out a couple more factories, and then people can put together some ships using the new hulls.
Well, it doesn't look like I'm in the negatives as far as the ship designs go. Although now I'm paused. Oh, not anymore.
Sorry, I had apparently frozen.
Still love to find out what the hell's wrong with your machine, Paul. Because you're always the one that's having the problems,
I've actually been crashing several times. I rebooted and that seemingly solved it, but now I'm having issues with going into the shipbuilder screen and whatever and factory. I don't know. Later time.
Fair enough. So, now do you have an NVIDIA card or an AMD card for your video card?
NVIDIA GTX 980.
Alright. Alright, well, now I'm in the brand new ship. And boy, do I have a hull. Whee!
Alright, so why don't you could direct people to put together a few ships using the new hulls. Why don't you direct them to where they can find the new hulls?
Fair enough, I will slow down.
Factories for everyone.
Factories for everyone! Yay! So I'm gonna hop back on my old ship and see what the new ship actually looks like. I kind of want to see what the engines look like. Let's see if I can sort of poke at it. Whee! Someone want to possess it so I can see what the engines look like? Just hit H and then hit P. There you go. Ogre, thank you.
No problem.
There you go. And you got shields and everything on it. So, like I said, it's a pea shooter, but at least it looks like something. It's a tiny pea shooter, but that's why it's a pea shooter. But there you go. So that's all working then. That's great, actually. Okay. So, you will need to direct people to the new ship designs. So, I'm back in the factory screen, or hit defaults, and it brings you up a standard layout. Obviously, you want to click on the different things you want to expand. So this has, beam weapons here. We say we want more beam weapons. Let's give it 5 beam weapons, and give it a bunch of missiles because we can, because why not? But we can change the hull, and that's where the new ships come in. So we have all these ships. So we have this big tanker thing, which is kind of orange. We have this, we have this new, the cap ship. That's what it's called, but it's meant to be a larger scale. We're trying to start to divvy up what these things look like, so it makes more sense what different things are. And then we have this tanker cap ship, it's a frigate, which is kind of a more bluish-yellow situation. The other thing I did change is the blue Cylon-looking ship, if you will. The shields were janky. Now they're actually the proper shields on them, so it doesn't look stupid anymore when you have shields on it. So, those are the different hull designs that we have, and then we can just keep on adding more. There's a bunch in here.
The blue Cylon one appears to be in twice.
Excuse me?
The one I assume you're talking about, the blue Cylon one, the one that's kind of a blue fighter, appears to be in twice.
Is it in twice? I think you are right. That's weird. The only ship
It's one to the left of the new orange.
Oh god. So evidently he's not paying attention to the case of it. So one's capital SHIP2 dot ship, and the other one's lowercase. Okay, well that's a thing. So yeah, we'll have to change that.
I'll make something with the orange freighter. Why not?
Fair enough. So that's a thing. So Matt, you might want to mark that one down too.
That is actually true. Everything in the game, I believe, is
Case sensitive. Yeah, no, we gotta change that. So what's happening, I think, because I know that ship is in the Guab, So the Guab identifier isn't noticing the fact it's the same ship. You know, it's supposed to take the file over priority over the one that's in the Guab.
Gotcha.
You know?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's that kind of thing. I mean, now we know. Now we know what to do about that. So there you go. So, but you did see that I was able to rename things, and that's the thing. Also, when you click on different things on the right here, it actually does actually indicate what you're actually looking at for once, because before it wasn't doing that, which is really stupid. Far more needs to be done with this. I'm not debating that. Like I said, it's always about high priorities and low priorities and things of that nature. But there you go.
I decided to, you're going to see in a minute, I decided to see how long it would let me go with the name.
Oh, gods. Yeah, there is an upper limit.
I didn't find it.
It's something like 100 characters.
But I definitely hit the upper limit of the display length.
Yes.
On the details mode.
Oh, that's a good point. I should look at the details of it. For thou who disrespect me shall, I presume.
Shall be smoted.
Okay, fair enough. What does this guy have? He's a pretty big boy, too. 432? Yeah.
I put like 8 guns or something on it.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 guns, unless I miscounted. And you got shields on it. That's the whole thing. Before, everybody didn't bother with shields. Now everybody and their brother's going to have shields.
I'm like, you know what? I got some money, forgetting, of course, that I just built like 4 factories on the spot. But whatever. I'll have money in a minute.
Well, I mean, the flip side is I look at it and it's like, okay, 70. All right, so that's 10 each, and therefore that's 7 guns. So that's kind of straight math. So there you go.
Trying to figure oh, firepower 70. Gotcha.
Yep.
Combat value a lot.
That's something like that.
We may need to adjust that number because the truth is that like firepower 70 I can get behind because if I thought about it I could have said okay, yeah, 7 guns, 10 each. Sure, but like the combat value, that number is completely meaningless to me.
Fair enough.
We need to. I know like that it has like that it's actually calculated based on something. It's not arbitrary, but like we need to adjust it so that it comes out in a way that can make sense to a person.
I don't know if anything is going to make sense to a person with that.
Well,
but I mean, I understand saying you have this many guns, this many whatever, adding in more information that makes it make more sense. That I grant you.
I mean, it boils down to like either that or just we might just want to secretly like divide the combat value number so that like your early ships don't come out at like 179,000. Like, all right.
Right. No. I understand. I honestly base it off of how BattleTech did it way back in the day, and I realize it's very perverted at this point. Now, if everybody's wondering why he's not actually starting this, it's okay. He doesn't have enough money. So this whole thing is 5,300, and if I go to the asset screen, I can actually see Jordan's number, and it sucks to be him. Yeah. So I am going to give him.
I only need about like 700,000 more. I'll get there.
7, yeah. So I'm going to give him. Oh, I don't know. Let's give him 500, so we'll catch up, so we can actually see it when it happens. All right. Or not. All right. Yep. Make trade.
Okay.
You're almost there.
Almost there.
Almost there.
I mean, this will be a good moment of truth too, because like now it's up.
There it goes.
Up. Yep. Totally took it.
Now, are you negative?
No. I went down to 0 because.
Well.
Right. But nope. Yeah, fine.
All right. Then that is a very good thing.
It's gonna take a little bit. So other people, throw out your new ships and the new models.
I'm looking at the ship you made. I love this. It's combat value 179,000.
Yeah, that's what we were talking about.
Wait. Turn rate 0.35.
How fast is that thing?
It's standard speed. 250.
Is it just a big ship?
It is a big puppy.
Yeah.
I just didn't have the money to put on anything other than the guns. I'm like, all right, let's be silly here and just put 7 guns on it. But like, I didn't like that didn't leave me any money to like adjust anything.
Well, 53 is not. I mean, that's a lot, but it's not horrible. Now, here's the thing.
it's not horrible if I hadn't then just built 4 factories to make this endeavor. So I had perhaps probably the least money of everybody at that exact moment.
I would definitely agree with that. What I would say though is I think the next level of fabrication should be done so we get the Factory Mark IIs.
Oh sure, yeah, we've never played with those.
I think I did that actually. Let me check.
Did these get upgraded, or you actually got the research?
Ooh, I need to research factors specifically. I will do that now.
All right.
Going back to the HUD for a second,
Sure.
because I actually have weapons that have ammo now. I like the way that was implemented.
Oh, you like that, do you?
Yeah.
Excellent. I got a compliment. Yay.
I don't know how
damn, that's
well,
the point.
like how obvious it'll be for things like autocannons that have a lot of ammo. I mean, you can kind of tell I'm mostly full or I'm almost out, but you won't know that you're out. Like you're really out until it goes red.
Yeah.
But for like the missiles that this had on it, no, that's useful.
Fair enough. I mean, autocannons are supposed to have a lot of ammo. Missiles are not.
Oh no, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's very obvious for missiles. Like I've got 2 more shots, 1 more shot, done.
Would you want to hop out real quick and I'll show everybody what we're talking about? Let's see if I can hop in. All right.
It's out right now, so.
True, but I'm gonna hit R and restore it. Server powers activate. So as you can see, what we were talking about is this little line represents the ammo counter. Now I would just put some junk into this ship in the first place, so it's sort of like, okay, well, you can see that the ammo is going down. You can see how long it's taken to recycle before you can fire again. And then I fire again, and it goes down. Then we have pulses that's going to cycle that much quicker. So that gives you an idea there. Thank you, Ogre. I'm going to pop right back out. Although you probably want to build a better ship for obvious reasons.
I mean, if you'd like to fly briefly, Ogre, the "For thou who disrespected me shall be smoted."
Did that come out?
Yeah, it's out.
Oh, gods.
Also, just double checks. I'm like, you know what? It should be the same, but let's check. And I also cannot. I also cannot access the upgrade building for factories. But I figured I'd check. So
I actually checked the file, and I did miss that back in last month. So,
Yep. That would cause a problem. That'd do it. Yep.
Hey, Jordan, how much power did you put in this thing?
I put 7 I didn't put any extra power, just 7 lasers.
Well, no, this is why I'm asking.
I see you firing.
They're maybe 80%.
I did not adjust the power ratio, so it.
Well, that's why I'm bringing it up, because it's like I have not started flickering yet. I'm not even at 50% power on all the weapons yet.
Yeah, well, because I left the power ratio at 100, so
right,
it has the power to run it.
I just passed 50%.
It looks like you got Mr. Happy there, Ogre.
That's a good point. Perhaps we don't want the default power to be quite that awesome.
I was bringing it up as a balancing thing.
Well, the whole thing is until I put in capacitors to work properly in the Quick Designer, changing the power ratio is not going to help too much.
That's cool. I said I was like, I'm like
more like
firing, going, wow, these keep going.
This is less like the power ratio. This is more like do we want as a base for it to be able to fire for that long?
So Ogre, take a pot shot at me. I should be right in front of you. Hello.
You can mark. I guess one of those factories. And I'll get the.
The problem is like the original thing has a lot of armor. That's kind of the problem. That's definitely a big boy, though. Well, I can't go backwards. Like I can start seeing the damage on my ship. You're pushing me.
I can select both of you and take a look at the health.
Oh, you took out my engines, you bastard.
Oh yeah, status immobile.
Yeah, status immobile. That was what I was saying. Why am I moving backwards? Shouldn't I be pushing against him? No, he took out my engines. That's kind of it. So there you go. Yep, that would definitely do it.
Yeah,
man,
yeah,
that whole time I didn't take my finger off the trigger.
Yeah, no. Well, you like things with big
Oh,
power
absolutely.
reactors anyway.
Absolutely, but for balance, I'd bring it up.
Yeah,
But,
no,
right,
right.
I think perhaps the like basic reactor should not be quite that awesome.
Yeah, I mean, this has been an issue that I've been talking with Adam with a long time. It's not his fault whatsoever. It's completely on my end. That until the quick designer shows more with the capacitors, it's more difficult to sit there and balance the power properly.
Fair
And
enough.
so that's meant for the early access release, but yeah, it's going to be done. It's just
Okay.
long laundry list of stuff that still needs to be done. What else is
A
new?
couple last tests. Matt, you want to mark one of the factories to become a factory Mark II, and the other one to become a salvager?
Sure, one moment.
I don't know. If
So what's the difference between a salvager and a factory Mark II? I mean, factory Mark II, okay, builds ships faster, that's fine. What does a salvager factory do?
Oh no,
Adam?
for Adam.
Sorry, say it again.
What does a salvager factory do versus a factory Mark II?
A salvager factory basically works better with CMs, I believe.
Ah, okay, fair enough.
Basically, it's okay with normal RMs, but if you basically use CMs, it gets basically a better rate.
All right, that makes sense. So we're not doing anything with CMs yet. That's not really showable, but yeah.
In the future, as we discussed before, once we have more stuff in the back end,
Yeah.
then basically you should be able to basically then also basically actually salvage ships more
Yes.
efficiently at those as well.
That's really coming relatively soon, I would think. That's going to be a thing, and I'm looking forward to chucking ships at people.
Here we have a couple factory stuff.
Yeah.
Great.
Yep, their builder bots are on it.
They're on it. They're on their way.
So what can be fun, to demonstrate this, is Arthur can, on one of the old factories, load up and it was an entertainingly named ship, and then another one on the new factories. Once they're done, you can see how the time is different.
All right. Now at this point, the frame rate is kind of through the floor.
Not on my end. Did you turn off the debug?
Yeah, I did. So I'm just kind of curious why it's.
I'm at a steady 48.
Yeah.
I don't know where to see my frame rate, but
Well, the server's always going to be wacky anyway, because I'm encoding and all the rest of that stuff at the same time anyway. But it's
one
not too
moment
bad here. All right. So we want to do a bunch of builds, right?
Yeah, I guess just throw the same thing on one of the original ones, and the third and fourth are the ones that changed.
It was 13 and 14. 13 is the Mark II.
Okay.
14 is obviously the salvager.
Okay,
Yeah.
so I'm going to put one. Well, we saw it take, what was it, 2.5 minutes before?
I don't remember.
All
Like
right.
that. But
All right.
let's see what the new time is. So just throw it on all
All right.
three.
All right. The new time's the 87. That's really good.
Wow.
It definitely wasn't that.
I'll double check. I'll throw.
All right. I don't have another 5,000. Someone else did it. So it's 2 minutes 95 seconds. Well,
you don't have to have
2.95.
the money. It'll tell you the time anyway.
Well, that's true. That's very true.
The 295 is the original time, down to 80 seconds.
And the salvager isn't that bad. It's 1.96, so that's still a minute off. It's not as good as the Mark II, but it's definitely much improved.
We never had the opportunity to play with the upgraded factories, because sort of playing with the upgraded researchers was a necessity, but the factories was again, it was the space requirement of throwing that many down. But now it's we're gonna be doing that.
Yeah, and especially now you can start cranking out big ships, because now big ships won't take 10 minutes to crank out anymore if you upgrade the factories. Yeah. Which means people are going to complain at you. It's Jordan, upgrade those factories. We want to crank out a nasty fleet. You know.
I mean, I'll have the builder bots for it.
Yeah.
Right. Give me a moment.
Sure. So yeah, no, it's no, this is going pretty well, actually. So I think we've demonstrated everything we wanted to, and then actually proved that it does work. I mean, we found some other little minor bugs, but what else is new? The ships just popped out. It's saving, of course. So if you're wondering why my ship is glowing, it's because of my engines.
The glow should probably stop when your engines are out.
Well, if they're not firing, they do go out. But the problem is that if you're hovering there, they are firing. You know?
I meant like your old one that Ogre killed.
Oh. You're probably right. I'm surprised they are firing, actually.
Yeah, I actually want to fly around the ship I made a little bit.
I see what you mean, though. Yeah, that's definitely, As soon as we get the scanners going, I'd love to see what actually is wrong. Is both engines out, or just, like, the main, like, you know, the, anti-inertial engine out?
I definitely made a boat of doom over here.
Well, yes.
I blocked the Suez Canal.
Okay, Evergreen.
I'm
Jordan, are you saying that you're into Explorer?
I'm what?
Bringing up something from last week.
There you go.
I'm tempted to add that to the name list, but that would probably not go over well in the long run.
Probably not, but no, I like how the new radar came out, though. I mean, I'm digging it.
I do still chuckle every time I see one of my names come up and was up by default. The ones I wrote, it makes me happy.
Mm-hmm.
It's little, but it's still.
I was worried when I put the camera on this new ship that things would block too much, but it's really not that bad. I mean, you expect that with this kind of ship. I mean, it's still very playable. So I think the cockpit point of view work actually came out pretty well. So that's good.
All right. Honestly, I think we have a pretty successful test for today.
I do agree. I mean, we'll have to do stealth on whatever comes up next week, whatever next play test. But I mean, this came out very, very well, I think.
Yeah.
You know, it's stable. All the things worked. There were a few minor glitches, but we expected that. But overall, no, this came out pretty good.
I had some like pains with the terrain earlier, but I think I was able to fix it, and I think it really does boil down to the system for when you're zoomed in or zoomed out and how it displays things in that circumstance needs a little bit of love.
That's probably true.
But that was like I'm mentioning it now because we're at the end because I was able to get out of it.
And that's good.
But we'll have to take care of it at some point.
Right. No, you're not wrong. Okay. Well, I know that people don't want to watch like 5-hour, live streams, but there we go. So yeah, we're now an hour at this point. So unless we want to play a game out and just try that out, we can cut it right here if we want, because we actually showed all the things we wanted to show.
Let's see them in a couple weeks.
Okay. Then thank you everybody for coming, and thank you very much for helping test this. And I hope everyone enjoys the brand new HUD. And one thing I did want to point out real quick, as you can see down here, is the shielding. Ogre, are you in the gunship still?
Yes.
Because you come over and shoot me, so I can show people what the shields going down looks like.
I forget. What was the target?
Use honestly, because we're the same side, it's gonna be harder to target me. So you want to use the semicolon and the apostrophe to find me. I'm in that the ship you were in, the weenie ship. I think I see you. Or someone's coming over.
Okay.
I'm approaching just to see what the ship looks like.
Okay. Mostly I just want to show people what it looks like when the shields are getting thwapped and that kind of thing.
Yeah, I was trying to make sure you were stationary and I was looking at the right one.
Yeah, no, that's me. I'll just move my nose back and forth a little bit here. Paul, I know you want to shoot me, so why don't you shoot me? Don't take me out, but...
Well, okay then. Just like in shields?
Yeah. Alright, now you see how quickly the shields went down. So I just wanted to show how this looks. I got a little hole breach here. Yeah, those are definitely you, and there goes everything. But you can see how all this went down. Now I still have internal structure, meaning some parts left, but he mostly just took out my engines. He didn't take out my weapons. My weapons are still here, but he definitely took out my engines, as you can see. So Ogre, keep going on me. Watch how he's eating parts of me. Now my reactor is now gone, so definitely the fusion much left of me. And I just exploded. See that nice blue, that orange glow, that was me going boom.
Big vada boom.
Big vada boom. So, This is a demonstration of how the new HUD looks as you're getting damaged. And obviously, you can see the damage that was taken over here. You can see all the different discolorations showing where the damage was really getting hit from. Now, I admit that it's very, very small, but I mean, those are the breaks for changing how different things look. So if I were, well, you couldn't even target me anymore because I'm technically a wreck. I'm a ghost right now. So now, am I still glowing? Because I still see a little red thing there.
Probably.
Okay. That's the thing. Alright, but as you can see down here, this has two different things. You have what the most penetrated facet is, which is the larger bars, and then like, how much armor is left. As you can see, there's a lot of technically armor left on before I got destroyed. Shields, on the other hand, they got completely blown out because the shield generator got blown up. So, it's still like it was, and again, my weapons are taken out, so that's why these are red on the HUD. And so, yeah, that's kind of what the new HUD's supposed to look like. I hope that people really enjoy how this new look looks. So I will exit out, and I'll put this back to the main screen. And again, I want to thank everybody for coming. Hopefully they enjoyed the new features we're adding in. And yes, this is actually coming eventually. We're still shooting for, at this point, of a Q2 release, for at least for early access. And yep, hopefully we'll see you there. And we'll see you in 2 weeks. So, have a good night.
Bye, everybody.
Night.
Laters.